Hi, welcome to my shop again. Well, today we're going to do something a little different, not a lot different, but a little different. We're going to use a burl to do a natural edge hollow form, and there's a couple different ways I can tackle this, but uh, what is a natural edge? Okay, how do we identify that? I guess if we're in a bowl format and we're using a burl, the natural edge becomes all wavy with the gnarly shape of the burl, and the edge comes up to it. And I choose to take the bark off. The bark sends a more rustic message, and I like a little softer look to it, but some people like to leave the bark on. So a natural edge bowl is kind of easy, and it doesn't need to be a burl. It could be just a straight grain trunk of the tree with a natural edge on it. Okay, but when we get into a hollow form, we want to close up that mouth. We have a couple different ways of going with it. The more traditional way, if you have a tree here with a burl on it, the waviness at the edge of the bowl, it's nice and wavy. Okay, now if we close that up into a hollow form and make a vessel, let's say a shape like this with a hollow form, the natural edge can also be wavy right at the top. Okay, and that would be, say a vessel like this that has a top that can be wavy. This is not a natural edge, but if we transpose that over to here, that could be a natural edge, right? Well, what I wanted to do is something a little different. I'm going to take my natural edge bowl and I want to have it come up here like this. So that when I undercut this edge where I have a void in it, and I undercut this edge, that the void will become the mouth opening. Okay? And so actually this will be probably from about here on is going to be my natural edge with the void being an odd shape. Okay, so this is what we're going to end up with. Something like this. So the void now is my mouth opening. I don't have a round hole here where the entry hole is. Okay, at this point I've started it between centers and I've established my axis. And while I was working on this, had flats and chainsaw cuts and things, and I was probably 5 or 6 times where I moved it in different axes to get it in the right place so that the top of my hollow form would have a natural edge. This is the bottom, and if we look at the side, you can see it's still roughed out at this stage, but I've measured and I know the shape that I want is going to be able to be established on this axis. Okay, this is the important part here, and I drilled a Forstner bit hole in here where the void was in the burl, and started it, and I had it even a couple axes on this end. I had to move it over a little bit, but you can see how the natural edge of the opening is going to allow me enough room to get in here and hollow, but yet still have a natural edge without a hole in the top of my vessel for a mouth opening. So first thing I have to do is shape the outside and get rid of all of the other chainsaw cuts and excess stuff So I'll be working on the outside first and shape all that, and it's going to come up, the rim is going to come up here to make myself a natural edge, and then I can start to hollow out underneath it. Okay, so while I had it between centers, I started on my balance point and started to rough stuff out a little bit, take the big corners off. I've got this with screws right directly in with my faceplate, so that's the strongest way of grabbing it. So I know I'm going to waste away about an inch here, so the bottom will be up here, the top will come around and make my natural edge. I'm going to leave the waste wood down here until I finish this hollowing out at the top stage so that I have support. I'm not going to take this down to a small foot and then go out and hollow and get some vibration. So we'll see what happens when I start to shape that. So I'm sneaking up on this slowly. I don't want to get too fast without looking and see what's happening. Beautiful, beautiful piece. And start very slowly, especially out at the rim, and just sneak up on this shape. I've set my boring bar up now so that I can get in here and hollow this out. I'm going to make a cylindrical shaped hole for now to open this up to the largest diameter. The largest diameter I'm going to be with my mouth open is going to be right here. That's the point that's the smallest area, and then I'll undercut into the larger void, but I've got to be careful and not touch this area right here. Okay, so I'm going to start it off right about there and turn the lathe on, the speed up. Okay, so that's the largest diameter that I can go right there, so I'm going to just go in from there. There it is. I just started to cut. Right, there's another cut. Speed the lathe up just a little more. Faster the speed of the lathe is, the quicker those air spaces go by, and it's not going to bounce so much. There we go. That's better. See those first few cuts I took there from a different angle. Now we can see inside a little bit. So this is my smallest diameter little area of the natural edge that I want to protect this, and I'm just coming inside of it. Okay, I've got Cindy's Joe's a little light here to try to get some light on the subject so you can see a little better. So I'm just going to stick this on my tool rest so you can see the area that I'm working. Right here, tries the cylinder shape. Go to the left, go to the left, go to the left. Again, I don't want to have any vibration, and if I push into the air spaces, it's going to bounce the tool around and have vibration. I want to be a nice fingertip control here and not have to force it. Once I get down into solid wood with no air spaces, then I can be a little bit more aggressive. So we'll show a little bit of a hogging off cut here. If you look at my hand here, I've got an overhand grip on it so that I have a little bit more strength instead of my fingertip control that I need when I'm uh, finishing the wall or working on a more delicate area. So I can grab it here and pull it pretty hard. The first thing I did was drill a drill hole in partway down, and knowing that the bottom is going to be down here someplace, I'm going to drill the drill hole short. I don't know exactly where the bottom is until I get done with that third stage. First stage is the outside of the top quadrant, and the second stage is the inside of the top quadrant. And then we're going to finish off the third stage where we work on the bottom half, bottom part of the vessel. And it's not till I get done with the third stage that I know where the bottom is, so I don't drill my drill hole too deep. The next thing is a shaving relief thing. I'm going to make my cylindrical shaped hole, so as I'm working in there, the shavings kind of just fall out. Okay, here we go. Got the laser on now, and I'm down in here, a little past center of my first stage, and now you can see the laser working and how fast I proceed down through the center, still making this cylinder shape, so you can watch the laser. There's my center hole, and so I'm going to go in the hole, go to the left, clean up my sidewall a little bit there, okay, and go left, go to the left, go to the left, go to the left, into the drill hole, go to the left. That's just the process. So this is like watching paint dry. So we're going to finish this up down to where my first stage is done. So now we have the cylindrical hole all the way down to my first stage inside. And now we're going to put the boring bar on an angle so that when I come in here, I'm going to be able to cut in the center where the largest diameter is. I want to make a hole in there, a recess in there, for the shavings to pile up. The centrifugal force will take the shavings in there while I work out at the top, and I can spend more time out there, and all the shavings will come inside. And I don't want to make a thin wall here. If I make a thin wall, then I'll go out to the top and it's going to start to vibrate. So we're making a pocket in there to hold the shaving. I'm going to start a little bit in front of it and then start to notch my way. Notch, 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 notch back in there. We're going to start to make a thin wall, and we're going to go in small stages because there's just wings flying around there that aren't very strong. So we want to go in small stages so that there's wood left over to hold it up while we're working on it. And as we work on that small stage, we're going to clean it up and be done. No tool marks, no torn out grain. Everything's going to be nice. With my fingertip control, I can just sweep across that surface very nice, and the laser is going to help me do that so that I have the uniform wall thickness. Because of vibration issues, we don't want to make this stage too big, and once we finish it, we're not going back. When we start on our second stage, we're not going to go back to the first stage and say, oh, I got a tool mark. Well, it's too late now. We got to get that all nice and clean before we move on to our second stage. And I'm going to pivot that swivel assembly around a little bit more because I'm undercutting that shoulder, and I've got the handle way away from me on an angle to the bed of the lathe so that I can come up and undercut that shoulder. Okay, and now I'm going to set the laser. the gap between the laser and the cutter is going to be my wall thickness. So let's set it about 3/16. Now I'm really I'm going to ignore the boring bar and watch the laser. As it comes over to the edge, even though it's fluttering here because of the air spaces, it's got to disappear. When the laser disappears, that's when I'm going to stop. I need to get some waste wood out from behind first. That's one of the rules with the carbide cutter. The first rule is you always go to the left. The second rule is you get the waste wood out first before you start to undercut the shoulders, so that you don't back up into the a block of waste wood from behind. Okay, so we're going to make that laser disappear here, right out at those little nubs, those little wings flying around. We got to make that laser disappear. There it is right there. The laser just barely on. You can see the little blinking red light. Oh, that's still too thick there. Now it's gone. I stop. 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 There's one of the wings that's almost done, and the other wing that's almost done. So I'm only touching in 2 spots here. So another little tip, that if you can, you want to get the speed of the lathe up as fast as you can. So I've got the speed up probably 1400 RPM. And I'm done in this little area right here. So I'm just going to clean up my tool marks just with my fingertips. Make sure that there's a nice clean surface there, because once I move on to the next stage, I can't go back. Don't go back. Okay, the laser is gone now. I can't rely on the laser, so I'm just going to listen to that little surface there and clean it up. There it is right here. Listen to that little hiss. Just with my fingertips. Back. Okay. Now just relax again with my fingertips here. Clean up the tool marks. Transition into that first section. The laser is gone, so I'm very delicate. Let the laser disappear. Stop. Now I've taken this straight shaft swivel out of there, and I put a bent one in. It's just a slight bend, but it kicks it over a little bit, and it allows me to undercut shoulders and get more bulbous shapes like this. So if you can see here, we can see right inside because of that void. We can see how it's going inside and can reach further into that area in here that I need to work in. Okay. And there's a bit of a fiddle factor here, that there's a certain point where it won't reach and it's going to hit the entry hole where the natural edge is floating around there. And so we just have to tilt it, we have to swivel it more, we have to stick it out more, we have to play with it and find an area that it'll cut and clean up the tool marks nicely. So I'm going to have to swivel it around a little bit more to get up into here. Okay. Okay, now we've got all of the hollowing done for the inside of what is our stage 2. All of this is done, right? Okay. Now we have to do stage 3. We're going to establish where the bottom is and finish this outside shape. I don't need all of this wood anymore. It's there to have support for the wood out here when we're hollowing so that we don't get vibration. Boring bar system is back on. I'm going to work on this last little third of the vessel. So I'm going to go in first and get down into the drill hole. And two things that I want to do while I'm working in this bottom. I want the drill hole to go away, and I want to finish the sidewall down to as far as I want to go. Okay, now I've got it all sanded. I need to take it off and reverse it. Now I'm never ever going to part off where it's going to sit on the table. Parting tool is going to rip that all up, and it's impossible to sand. And I always want to do a little detail in the bottom of my vessels or bowls just to show that it's been turned down there. Now I have a piece of scrap wood on here that I've made into a donut, and just put a pad on it so that when my hollow form sits in there, it sits in the center and shoulders all the way around the outside, so I don't have anything inside my hollow form. It's all captured on the outside of my hollow form. Okay, now I've got a couple views that you can see me working on this bottom here. If you notice, turn it on slow to begin with here. This is wobbling a little bit, and it always will because it's not running true. It's not round, and that's not a problem because this is all done. I'm not going back here anymore. I'm only going to work on the inside of the bottom. Okay, so if it's wobbling a little bit, it's not a problem. Now I'm driving with the friction. The tailstock is just pressing it against that pad that I showed you. And so let's get the speed up a little bit more than that. So I'm going to take small cuts and slow cuts. I'm not going to get in a hurry with this. Now let's go back to actual speed now so that you can see how slowly I'm working across here to keep it nice and smooth. Keep the pace of the tool going across the wood very slowly, and the speed of the lathe up as fast as I can go. That's going to give me the cleanest surface left behind. And I've got some bark and stuff going on, soft areas down in there, so this is really important to make a clean cut. 3, 2. Okay, I think it turned out pretty nicely. There's the shape. I'm really pleased with it. The character of the burl is outstanding all the way around. Okay. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.